There are so many franchises in the film and television industries that it's kind of hard to keep up at some point. There are some that are just truly iconic and that everybody knows all around the world. From Star Wars and Marvel to, of course, the ever iconic Star Trek. It might not be as popular as it was back in the day, but Star Trek has strived to stay consistent and stay in the minds of every nerd all around the globe. It's been a tough time for Star Trek as Star Wars came back with a ban, and it seems like Star Trek didn't know what they were doing. The franchise wasn't doing well up until 2009 when they decided to reboot the series. This reboot was directed by J.J. Abrams and was followed by 2 sequels. Chris Pine starred as Captain Kirk, or at least a younger version of the character in this new version. For years now, he's been playing the character and just going along with what happens with the role. However, he has come out over the last few weeks saying he is frustrated with the franchise and that he hasn't been kept in the loop about a possible 4th film. So let's get into why Chris Pine thinks the Star Trek franchise is cursed and why he may be kept out of the 4th film. In February last year, Paramount had announced the 4th installment in the reboot series, saying that it was finally in official development. The entire fan base was super excited as we were finally getting another entry into their beloved reboot series. Matt Shakman was attached to direct the project, but he has since departed the film to helm Marvel's Fantastic Four. I guess he left for something better, right?
So it is a huge joy to be able to work with them, spend time with them every day, to bring them into the MCU.
J.J. Abrams is staying on to produce this next film and recently did an interview with Esquire talking about the film's progress. He provided a huge update on the film, saying that it's the first time since the original reboot that they think they have a story as compelling as the first one. Damn, I guess it is shaping up to be something great, but maybe something else is going on behind the scenes.
We have a movie that it's being written right now, that is going to feature Chris Hemsworth, who's going to return as Kirk's father. And there's an adventure that Kirk and the others and Kirk's father are going to go on together.
In the same interview, Chris Pine shared that this was brand new news to him, as he didn't know anything. This is really weird, as the main actor is usually kept in the inner circle when creating a new project. The actors are usually the last people to find out everything, Pine said, as he said that he's seen costume designers who have read the scripts before the actors. It does make sense why other people would have to get in the loop before the actors, as they need to prove everything before they get on the set, but it's weird that their leading man didn't even know this was happening, especially someone as iconic as Chris Pine. He recently carried the franchise so far and is one of the reasons people still tune into this reboot franchise. So the fact that he wasn't kept in the loop must be really frustrating for him, and he was even let down in the interview. The interviewer asked if it was weird to know so little about a project that he signed up for, and Pine said that it was extremely frustrating. He said that it doesn't really foster the greatest sense of partnership with the team and the crew, but that's how it's always been in the industry. He said he loves the character, loves the people, and loves the franchise, but that he can't change the system in which things are created because he just can't do it because he does not have the energy. It's a real shame that Pine has to be treated like this, but I guess that's just how the franchise works.
You always want to do a good job, and you want to be, especially with something that's this beloved, you want to do the part justice. And as we've kind of promoted the film and gone around, we've encountered people, and
the Star Trek franchise has a lot of ups and downs, so maybe keeping things secret is the best way to stop the fan base from going crazy before the film is even in production. Pine carried on this interview by saying that the Star Trek franchise feels cursed to him when talking about its success. Star Trek Beyond was considered a box office failure as it only reached £288 million worldwide. This is obviously still a lot of money. I would have been amazed closed around 15 years ago. However, with the advent of Marvel movies taking over the box office and bringing in billions, this was a huge failure for the industry. Pine said that he's not sure if Star Trek was ever built to do that sort of business, and he's actually got a point there. Star Trek does have a huge fan base, but it was a television series, not a film series. The reason it was so popular is that people could tune in each and every week to follow the story, especially after the love people had for Star Wars. The world loved Star Wars but wanted more of it, and that's where Star Trek entered the world. It helps people pass the time before the next Star Wars film comes out, and even garners its own fan base due to its iconic community of characters. Star Trek wasn't built to be a huge film franchise, and that's sort of seen through what's been happening behind the scenes. He said he's wondered why they aren't just appealing to this very rabid fan base by making a movie for a good price and going on their own way. The past few Star Trek movies, he said, have been trying to compete with Marvel and other big companies like them, which is just a dumb idea with an IP like Star Trek. He said after the last one came out and it didn't do $1 billion, it was a failure, and he didn't know what to do. But honestly, Riley's film wasn't a failure. The amount of money is still greater than the average box office and much more than many films could ever dream of.
We've been doing this now for like 10 years, nearly 10 years. And I think from the beginning, all of us said that the best thing that JJ ever did was cast it so well. Because we all do get along beautifully and we enjoy each other's company immensely, and especially when you're away from home.
It's just the fact that the whole industry is cursed right now, not just Star Trek itself, as Pine says. The industry is constantly trying to compete with Marvel and change things for the better, or at least what they think is better. Every single film has to reach $1 billion or near that, and it just doesn't work that way. Avengers made that much money because of how popular it was and how hyped it would become over the years of setup. Other film franchises just can't do this as effectively as Marvel did, and you can see that even they have fallen off recently. The entire film industry is in a very weird spot right now, as even the hierarchy at Marvel is seemingly crumbling, that their films have been poorly received, full of bad writing and CGI, and haven't done great at the box office when compared to their previous films. Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War were seemingly the new standards for the film industry, and that has ruined many other franchises like Star Trek. Just as Chris Pine said, why are they trying to compete with Marvel when they should be going after their own rabid fan base? That decision is what got them here in the first place, so it's kind of insulting to just ignore them to try and go for $1 billion film that no one actually cares about. Pine himself has since moved on from the Star Trek mindset, as he is just going to wait for the call to bring him in for acting. He's got other films coming out, such as Dungeons & Dragons, Blood and Sand, which will hopefully carry on his career if Star Trek fails once again. What do you think about all of this? Please let us know your thoughts on the current state of the film industry, as well as how Star Trek might be cursed down below. We hope you enjoyed today's video.